It's me, your daddy, Roberto.
Daddy?
You know, I seen you on the ESPN when they was talking about you being drafted by the NFL.
Not going to the NFL. I'm going to stay in school and graduate.
The hell with school, dopey. Take the money. You and me could be partners, just like that Tiger Woods and his daddy.
Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner football fans podcast. You got Terry and Rob here. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
And we are in the podcast palace in beautiful Norman, Oklahoma, where
we are not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma,
but we do have eligibility left. And we need to give our shout out to Bob Doty, Tara's dad. Hope you're having a good day today, buddy.
We love your daughter, by the way.
Yeah. And apparently I'm going to be going to a concert with her.
Oh, really?
Which coming
one?
Up next month, Tesla in Durant, Oklahoma. And
all right. She's going too?
Yeah, she sent Teresa a message today. So, a couple of other little things. Whatever you're listening to us on right now, hit your little subscribe button, follow, like.
We normally use the word stalk, but I don't know
Stalk.
if that's, yeah.
Rob's still open for stalkers. It's weird that you haven't had any. That's what's bothersome, Rob.
Well, I'm kind of a big ugly guy, so I mean,
true. I wasn't going to say that. You brought it up.
Well, I mean, come on.
I'm not attracted to you. That doesn't mean other people
Well,
are. Rob.
I appreciate that very much, Terry, and I return the sentiment.
But I know that you guys have heard us talk about it. Our buddy who did the pregame or the tailgate podcast with us, Dan Donnelly, Sooner fan out in California, as we call him, the tailgate ninja, has been putting together, or I guess has finalized the Oklahoma Sooner football fan tailgate connect UCLA tailgate
At UCLA, which we are going to this year, Terry,
at the Rose Bowl.
Who's going with us?
I don't know. Yeah, we need to find out who all is going, because it's going to be crazy, because he is going to be putting out teasers tomorrow on social media.
Yep.
And we will be tweeting them out and talking about what's going to happen, and then they will add it to Tailgate Connect's website so everybody can sign up to go to the tailgate.
So it'd be pretty cool if we had a whole bunch of Sooners going out with us to that podcast, to that tailgate. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But Scotty's going to be there, and he and I are sitting here talking about it on text. And
yeah.
Scotty asked me if planning was underway. I said,
apparently
hey, we're men. Planning is optional.
Yeah, and I did ask Dan if need be, we could use the canopy as a tent and just stay there. So
yeah.
He said that's optional.
Well, listen, if I go down, I'm staying right there, because nobody's picking me up. Okay?
If Rob goes down, he's down for the count.
See, we could probably drag you into the car, but that's not going to happen. Really, so.
But I'm pretty sure Dan was talking to me one time that I'm pretty sure there was discussion of blocks of ice and shots. So
blocks of ice and
shots.
Yeah,
where they pour the I don't know what he's got planned, so it ought to be pretty wild.
All
but
right.
Anyway, let's get to what we do, and that's talk Sooner football with Sooner fans.
Hallelujah.
And we have on the phone with us all the way from Fort Gibson, Oklahoma, we've got Zach Cobler on with us. Boomer, Zach.
Hey, guys.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm great. Glad to be.
So, are you going to try to make the trip out to California for the UCLA game now that you found out there's like a gigantic party before the game?
I guess I got to get now that I heard all about that fun.
Yeah.
Well, Dan is a professional tailgater.
Yes,
so we're not talking about just like a minor thing. This is going to be a big Sooner blowout.
Yeah, and see, what you might not know about Dan is Dan travels the United States and goes to anywhere from 10 to, I think he went to 15 this year.
He may have the best job in the world.
Yeah, different tailgates. He just picks tailgates and goes to them. So and he's putting one on this coming year at UCLA, so it ought to be epic. I just hope I can remember the game.
Well, hopefully you can, just pare it down to
drink a lot of water beforehand. So, but Zach, tell us a little bit about yourself. I guess did you just recently graduate from OU?
No, I graduated from. I didn't go to OU, but I grew up an OU fan from probably the second grade. Is the early I have it was an OU fan. My dad and my mom both OSU fan, like core, and I just my friends at the time were OU fans. They just didn't me that sooner bred, so I just kept going from there. Parents kind of hated it, but
yeah,
I hated there to follow the Cowboys. So
oh, okay, so they're Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, how can you stand that?
Well, they are his parents.
I don't know a nice way to put that. I mean, other than that, how are family dinners and just going home to see mom and dad?
Oh, it's we have family get-togethers. We have in our family we have a Texas family. It's just
man.
I never hear just can't get to her without her something about Texas, and then I rattle off some stats for you, and then she kind of shuts up for the rest of the day. So. But
all right, but what? So your parents didn't raise you to be a Sooner fan. You said your friends were the ones that got you. So did you grow up watching Oklahoma State football and listening to Oklahoma State football?
No, really. I grew up more. I was in the other room and watched the game more than I'd watch the game. My dad had a big opportunity to turn me to a OSU fan when I was really young. He took my brother to the OSU game, but I got bronchitis, and I wasn't able to go, and God just comes through the right ways, not making an OSU fan.
I was going to say, God gave you bronchitis so you wouldn't have to go to the OSU game. So what did you think about the past season? What were your thoughts on everything that went on?
Honestly, this past season was fun. I thought it was going to be all that was chalked up to be, and he was fun to watch. Even my first ever game was when he started, because Baker got suspended. Yeah, grabbing his stuff, and that first day was electrifying. I just knew coming into this year that even though Lincoln had built it up to be a quarterback battle, it really wasn't. Because Austin Kendall's quarterback, but he's not Kyle great. And this year was great. It was to watch. And the defense, but it's fun to Lincoln's offenses. Excited about the new defensive coordinator, and I'm excited to have a defense that sounds like it's going to coincide with Lincoln's defense really well, with forced turnovers and just get the ball back as fast as we can. I'm really excited this year. Last year was great, just being able to put that up on the board consistently. That's what you get with Lincoln. Yeah, obviously.
Right. But sorry about that, everybody. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, and you know what? We're not professionals. We're just guys sitting around, so I think we got it fixed. But the biggest gist of what we've got is that God loves Zach, gave him bronchitis, so he wouldn't become an Oklahoma State fan. You got Texas family too?
Yeah, I got a little bit. They're not even from Texas. It's just one outlier that I think she just wanted to kind of be a butthead. she just wanted to be stubborn and pick the team that nobody likes. So.
Oh, one of those. I don't think we have anybody like that in my family. Rob, do you got anybody that's just the?
I got a brother-in-law that's an OSU fan, but his brothers went to school there, so he didn't. But since his brothers did, I guess that kind of.
Well, but so you're from Fort Gibson, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we started a new deal now, and that's where Mr. Lehman's from, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes, sir. We got a little shrine in our new gym to him.
Oh, do you? the Teddy Lehman Shrine. So did you play ball or anything at? It's the Fort Gibson Tigers, right?
Yes, sir. Fort Gibson Tigers, and I didn't actually play football for the Tigers. I played a little bit in middle school, but I'm a small dude, so I wasn't going to make an impact. So, but I cheered them on every Friday night.
Yeah.
I played other sports. I wasn't the big guy. I couldn't get out there and get physical.
Yeah. So what we've started doing is, whoever's on, we talk a little bit of high school football, from whatever town they're from. So Fort Gibson, I was looking at Fort Gibson's schedule this year, and they went, and I love this. This is off of, what is the name of this website? Max Preps. Okay. Just to give you a little bit of information about your Fort Gibson Tigers that you may not know. Their colors are red and white, which I'm sure you know that. Let's see. They were overall this year 4-7. They were 4-3 in district, which district is what matters. So they got into the playoffs. They were ranked 117th in Oklahoma and 6,902 nationally. Why do they even rank high school teams
I don't know.
nationally?
Maybe rank the top 100, but but 1,000.
Looking through the schedule, the only thing that jumps out at me, because I grew up in McAllister, that I guess you guys play Sallisaw. Is that part of your district? Is Sallisaw?
Yeah, they're part of our district.
The Black Knights?
The Black Diamonds.
That's it, Black Diamonds. Sorry.
Does anybody know? I mean, we play actually in McAllister. Sallisaw was in our district my junior and senior year. Does anybody know why they're called the Black Diamonds? Do you know?
I have no
Ski
idea.
slopes. Ski slopes. Double Black Diamond. I never went down them. Never ever. I didn't even get close.
Ski slopes. I don't think it's ski slopes, Rob.
Oh, okay.
But I know that our coach in high school, because their helmets were orange, he called them the pumpkin heads. So
They're orange, really?
Yeah, they were black and orange, and their helmets were orange. Are their helmets still orange?
Yeah, they're still those gaudy orange color.
Yeah, black and orange, and he called them the pumpkin heads.
My high school is black and orange.
Yeah, but you had white helmets, didn't you?
No, our helmets were black with a white tiger paw.
With a white tiger paw.
Yeah, but I still need therapy because we had some orange jerseys.
Well, mine was. Didn't you love black helmets during 2 days?
Yeah.
God.
Well, half the time mine had vomit on it.
So, but was there anything with the Fort Gibson Tigers that did they do better than people thought they were going to? Did they do worse?
And what class is that?
It's Class 4A, and
4A.
Honestly, I think they did probably right around what they were supposed to. They coming into the season, our football team doesn't have a lot of history. We've had a couple good years here and there, like when Teddy Lehman was there. We had a really good year his senior year, and then I think it was in 2015 we had a really good year. But historically, we were pretty average, pretty even, go about 5-5 every year, and then go to the playoffs and get knocked out in the first round. But this year, it seemed like we were pretty young, so it was pretty what it was expected. We played a really tough non-district schedule. We played like top 10 in 5A, top 10 in 4A, and top 10 in 3A, and couldn't notch a win out of any of them. So
yeah.
But
Sallisaw kind of rules that 4A, don't they? Don't they always
actually
win?
Wagner
Oh,
kind of.
okay.
Wagner before this year, Wagner had won 3 straight state titles in a row, and they had the longest winning streak in the state. Fun fact, the last team to actually beat Wagner that wasn't a forfeit was Fort Gibson, though. Before that, so.
That wasn't a forfeit. Did somebody forfeit them before?
Yeah, Ulaga, in 2015 actually won their district title, and then they admitted to playing I think it was 2 or 3 ineligible players, so they forfeited a couple games.
Oh, okay.
Wagner picked up the district title from that.
I was wanting forfeit because I was. Do you ever watch on ESPN? What is it? It's their Make You Want to Cry show. Inside.
Man, I don't watch ESPN.
Inside the Lines or SC Storied. They have they have good stories. Some of them are funny. The majority of them are make you want to cry story. But there's a private Catholic school. I want to say it's up in Baltimore or Philadelphia, somewhere up in the Northeast. And this guy, basically, he's a hedge fund guru, and he just supports the school. He went there. He's the coach and everything. Built this program, and nobody will play them. They have forfeits. They were there to film a game. The SC Storied was there, and the team that came to play them, only half the players got off the bus. And they went over and interviewed the players, and they go, "We don't know, man. Ain't nobody going to get off the bus." So and when you said forfeit, I thought, is this a situation where people show up and we're showing up in Wagner and some big old corn-fed boys stand out there and they're like, "We ain't getting off this bus."
I mean, that's pretty bad if they're scared to get off the bus.
But yeah, this team didn't get off the bus, so they forfeited the game.
Huh.
And they ended up having to play teams from out of state. Is the only way they can get games. And I guess the private school district up there has allowed them to do something that they can still play in the state playoffs. So,
you still there, Zach?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Something happened.
Yeah, had a little bit of hissing noise coming through there. But anyway, so yeah, it was pretty interesting that this high school team had nobody that wanted to play them. So, but I'm guessing that wasn't the case with Wagner.
No, they Fort Gibson stopped playing them for a while because every year they beat them 70-0. But we had a couple good teams here and there, so we started playing them again. And we got a new coach that wanted to play more competitive games. And some years we compete with them, some years we don't.
Yeah,
Wagner's just a little bit above us tier-wise in Class 4A.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get to our Sooner bucket of questions. Okay, do you know what the Sooner bucket of questions is, Zach?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know a little bit about it.
It doesn't sound like he's looking forward to this.
So they might be Sooner questions, they might be movie, music, life. It's just whatever.
Zach, how old are you?
I am 23.
Okay, I'm putting this one back. My favorite 80s hairband.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not going to. All right. Are you ready, Zach? Question number 1. You're flipping through the channels and you come across Rudy. Do you watch it?
You come across what?
Rudy. The movie Rudy. Have you ever
Of
seen
course,
the movie?
always.
Okay.
You watch Rudy. Good answer.
Woo,
Yeah.
man. About to be worried about
That's one of those ones that even though it's Notre Dame, you gotta stop and watch it.
All right.
Next one, Rob.
Question number 2. By the way, he was offsides. I'm just throwing that out there. He was offsides.
Rudy was offsides.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So, Zach, what sport did you try as a child and fail at?
I would definitely say probably football.
Football.
I just wasn't.
Wasn't the big guy. Also didn't have any speed, huh?
So it was just football. Rob, what was yours?
Yeah.
What was mine? Well, I mean, I'm a slow white guy. I didn't play basketball, or at least I didn't play it very well.
So, Zach, what sport did you said you did play? Did you play any sports in high school? You said you played football in middle school, and you played other sports. What were?
Yeah, I played soccer in high school, and I played basketball a little bit in high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the only sport that I think I really failed at was there was actually in junior high. Our school or the wrestling coach had his tryouts were intramurals. Remember we used to have intramurals when you were in school, Rob?
No.
Your homerooms went against homerooms.
We didn't do that.
And he would just match people. And I remember I had to wrestle Gary Daniels, and I boxed. Now, if they'd put on gloves, I'd been fine. But Gary threw me in a headlock on the mat, and I was like, yep, that's not for me. Number one, I'm rubbing too close up next to guys. And two, that was one. But then Caleb turns out to be a really good wrestler when he was a kid. But
Well, I can tell you the last day I ever tried to play basketball. You see, I was strong enough I could jump and I could grab the net with one hand.
Yeah.
I couldn't grab it with both hands, but I could get it with one hand. And then I was strong enough to go ahead and pull myself up to the rim. And I did that one day, and I was hanging off the rim, and they were throwing basketballs up there, and I fell off, broke my arm in 2 spots.
ouch.
Last day on the basketball court
Yeah.
ever. So there's that.
Okay, one more, Zach.
Question number 3, Zach. What is your most unusual talent?
There we go.
Oh, that's a tough one.
You can play Amazing Grace on your throat.
No, I am fairly good at like magic tricks with cards, or pretty much anything to do with cards.
Yeah, okay.
I can throw cards. I can throw cards, stick them in a wall, or I can.
You can stick them in a wall?
Yeah.
like a sheetrock wall?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Me and a buddy in high school, or not in high school, my college roommate, I grew up with him throughout high school, and we knew each other, and when we'd get bored, we'd just throw cards, and we started getting really good at it, and towards the end of our college careers, we were throwing them and sticking them in the walls, but now I don't want to pay for the wall damage, so I kind of don't live in the dorm anymore. So
now, okay, of course, my question is, did you ever get into a card fight and like impale somebody with a card? Did you ever stick it?
Yes. I don't know if I ever impaled anybody, but we did get in fights. We would actually play a game. We'd stand across the room from each other of a fairly big room, and we would try to, out of a 52 card deck, see how many times we could hit each other. And really dumb idea, but you know.
Hey, I play. Again, I grew up southeastern Oklahoma, not that far from you. We used to have rock fights. So, fights with a 52 deck of cards.
Yeah, I'd rather throw a card at you. Get hit by a card, I guess.
Than a rock.
Yep.
Yeah, so, but, the rock rules were simple. You didn't, throw them. It was kind of like, I would say, Battleship. You would draw a circle around you, and you had to lob rocks at people. Okay? And if it landed in your circle, you were out. But
that's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, but there was times you got mad and somebody got pinged with a rock. Yeah. We also used to do BB gun fights too. So, did you ever have BB gun fights?
No, but we did bottle rockets.
I did that too.
Yeah.
You ever had bottle rocket fights, Zach?
Yes.
Okay.
So back in the day,
growing up over at the cousin's house, we had plenty of them.
Hey, back in the day, those bottle rockets were mean.
Yeah.
Not the little wimpy ones you got today.
Yeah. My brother John one time shot my older brother with a Roman candle once. Oh. That was crazy.
Yeah, that's a third-degree burn.
Me and a buddy. It was only, I think it was 3 years ago on 4th of July. We had a Roman candle fight, and it ended up in the hospital. So I know what you're talking about.
Seeing that stuff that stuff that these folks that live up here in Oklahoma City and Norman and Tulsa, you know, they don't understand these country folk games. You know, we got bored when we were kids. We're living out in these little small towns, and man, if somebody had fireworks, it was bottle rocket fights, firecracker fights. You
better believe it.
Rock fights, and then you get into college, you advance into, you know, sticking cards into sheetrock walls. But I've seen that I've seen it on like one of those shows where they show people, they throw them, they can stick them in this stuff. That's nuts. Yeah. But dude, you have to. Did you ever study in college? Because to get that good with a card, you got to like do it all the time.
I would assume there's a whole bunch of hold my beer and watch this moments. I'm just saying.
There were a lot of those moments in college for sure.
All right.
But that is impressive, sticking a card in the wall. Well, let's get back on the point here. We are supposed to be talking about Sooner football. Did either of you see this guy? I'm going to try to read his name here. I'm blind. Tom Pelissero put out this report today, and Lincoln Riley, he put it out on Twitter. And Lincoln Riley called him to the carpet on it. Did y'all see what this guy said?
I browsed it, but refresh my memory.
Zach, did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it. I just can't. I don't remember the exact wording, but
well,
yeah,
it was basically
sure.
All the NFL teams are scared to take Kyler Murray now
because he's short.
No, because of his dad. His dad's one of his quarterback coaches, and he apparently puts his nose in where it doesn't belong. They're afraid that he's spoiled the Texas A&M to Oklahoma deal. If he doesn't get drafted to the team he wants, he's going to go play baseball. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't get to play, he's going to go play baseball. Now, all of a sudden, all the NFL teams are afraid of him.
Mm. Do you believe that? Or?
No, I don't. Do you believe it, Zach?
No, I don't believe it.
No, I think it's pretty genuine when he says he wants to play football. Yeah. I can't blame him. I'm not a huge baseball fan. I'd get tired standing out there in the field just waiting for a ball to come towards me.
Yeah, I mean, this guy put this thing out there and said, I guess he talked to his dad, and you know that there are teams that are thinking about drafting him, but they say that his father and quarterback coach Kenny Murray, you know, is a concern, and that they, you know, the A&M to Oklahoma transfer is a concern, that he's, I guess, spoiled. And Lincoln called him to the carpet, you know, in a tweet, said you couldn't be further from the truth. In 3 years of coaching him, not one conversation with Kevin about anything football related. So
shut that down, didn't you? That's nice.
So, but it makes me wonder sometimes. I mean, is it so bad out there that we don't have anything? This is almost like the Baker Mayfield stuff last year.
Yeah, they're just trying to pick up.
They're trying to just
somewhere. Yeah,
make something interesting about this draft. You know,
yeah,
I mean,
trying to drum up business out of nowhere.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing. Yeah,
because I don't know, I'd never heard that before until today, until I saw it today. Had you ever heard anything remotely like that, Zach, about this kid? You know, that he's spoiled, his dad's nosy.
No, I think it's just a slow news cycle, and I think this guy's just trying to drum up some likes on Twitter.
Yeah.
Just trying to get some Twitter famous.
Yeah, the only thing I ever remember anybody talking about Kyler's dad was that he did not one time smile in the Heisman Trophy ceremony.
Right? I'm like, what's the matter with this guy? Come on, your son just won the Heisman.
Yeah, he sat there just staunched and through the whole thing. Just, you know, if it was my kid won the Heisman, I might have run around pointing fingers at the other dads.
I definitely would have been giving him the boomer. Boomer! Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would have been something. But he was just collective. Didn't really crack it. And that's the only thing I've ever heard about the guy.
Yeah.
You know, and it was, you know, most people, it was tongue-in-cheek funny. It was like, you know, he wasn't even happy for his own kid. You know, it's just how he is, apparently. He's not a real emotional type
guy. But you know what's funny, Terry, is you and I both coached, and we coached together.
Yeah.
And we had some dads that were like, hey, I want my son to play defense. Really? Your son runs from the ball on offense. you remember that?
Yep.
Anyway, yeah. So we understand there are dads out there like that, but I don't think he's one.
Yeah, I don't, and I don't think it doesn't seem to me that Bob, you know, because he was there when Kyler first came, or Lincoln would really allow it. You know what I mean? They don't have time for it. You know, I mean, what college coach has time for? You know, I understand high school ball. The dads come in after practice and stand around and talk to the coach or something like that. But Lincoln Riley's a busy man. He ain't got time to talk to.
He ain't got time to play around like that. Nope.
So, you know, this is what we get this time of year is, you know, just I'm not made up stories. It's guys trying to find something to talk about. So, but. Are you a combine watcher, Zach?
Yeah, I do dabble in the combine. I like keeping up with what 40s people run and how well they've lifted and just different stuff like that. I like keeping up with that. But
yeah.
What's
I don't
your 40
know
time, Zach?
What?
What's your 40 time?
Nowhere near anything. I couldn't beat the offensive lineman out there.
Don't feel bad. We couldn't either.
No,
downhill on roller skates. I still don't think I could.
On a bike, I couldn't do it. Nope, could not.
But yeah. So we got 8 Sooners going to be at the combine: Rodney Anderson, Kyler Murray, Marquise Brown, Bobby Evans, Cody Ford, Ben Powers, Drew Samia, and Austin Seibert. Is it Seibert or Seibert? Which one is it? I can never remember.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate your input.
No problem.
So, is there anything that first off, Rob and I are upset that apparently Marquise Hollywood Brown is not running the 40. So we're never going to know who runs the 40 faster, if it's Kyler or Marquise. Because apparently Kyler's going to run the 40, but he's not going to throw the ball.
If they ran, who was your money on?
Marquise.
Zach?
Yeah, Marquise.
Yeah, mine too. That means it's faster.
Yeah, I mean it's 3-0. Hey,
yeah, that's a win right there.
It's a win. But this is what I don't like about the NFL sometimes, and like this combine is just my opinion. If you're invited to the combine, you don't get to go and say, I'm not going to do that.
Unless you're hurt.
Then don't go at all. Then you shouldn't go at all. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Because I know, that, and that's what Hollywood, he's got that foot injury and he said he's not, not going to run, but he's going to run routes. That doesn't make, it's just to me, if you're going to come to the combine, whatever your position is, you do all of them. You don't get to pick and choose. Now you can pick and choose at your pro day, but combine, if you get the invite and you accept it, you should do everything.
We probably need to get James Hale or somebody to explain this to us, because I'll bet you there's just something about it we don't know or we don't understand on why that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that to some degree, some of them want them to come to Oklahoma so they can do their pro day here, just Oklahoma guys. I don't know why that would make a difference. Just if you're Marquise Brown and you're faster than everybody, then you go out there and you run that, and then you point at them and go, get on my level, or something like. I don't know what you do, but I mean,
what are your thoughts on that, Zach? Do you think they ought to be able to pick and choose, or just come and do it all?
No, I think they need to do it all. I think if you're at the combine, so obviously you're one of the elite talents, you need to show off your ability. You need to, and I think that's where they get it, because they're elite talent. They're like, well, we're elite. We don't have to show it off. But I think you're right. If you're at the combine, you need to be able to show off that talent. And I don't even understand why Tyler wouldn't throw. That's one of his big flaws. Like that people are calling him out on is his accuracy a little bit, and I think that him throwing would shut people up a little bit.
Yeah.
About that.
Well, see I heard, listening to some of the stuff on ESPN, NFL Network, and some of the radios up here, the stations up here, they say him throwing the ball will not help him. It can only hurt him. So if he goes out there and has a good day throwing, he's fine. Well, that's what we expected. But if he has a bad day throwing, it hurts him, which that's true with everybody at a combine. And but I'm like you, Zach. That's what everybody's questioning. And one person said, I heard that a lot of the quarterbacks don't like throwing because they're not throwing to receivers they know, and the receivers may not be as good as the receivers they threw to. But I'm like, that's every quarterback. They're all throwing to different receivers.
I feel like that's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just, Kyler should throw. He should run the 40. I don't know if quarterbacks do the bench press or, what all they do. And that's the other thing. I forgot to find that out today, Rob. Zach, maybe you know this. Do kickers have to run 40s? Do all kickers do is just kick at the combine?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever actually watched the kicking portion of the combine. So.
Nope, I don't think anybody does.
but we were just wondering, okay, do kickers and I know that's all they do at practice. I mean, is they go over there and kick. But what about strength and conditioning? Do they do any of that? Is Austin got to go through, how many times can he bench press, I don't know, 150, 245, whatever it is.
It's
that they
2
do.
and a quarter.
2 and a quarter?
Yeah.
And what's Austin Seibert's 40 time if he's going to run it?
I don't know. I don't think any pro team's going to care what his 40 time is.
Yeah, that's true. Probably not.
So I don't think they run it. I don't think they do the lift. I don't think they do anything but punt.
Yeah.
Or kick or whatever they're. Yeah.
But see, the other thing is, and I think Orlando Brown last year proved it. Okay, him sucking it up at the bench press, all it did was cost him cash. The guy played in the NFL and played well.
He is a dominant player.
Yeah,
he's not just good; he's a dominant tackle.
Yeah, which is again, you take the, I mean, what was he, Zach, last year? He was like ridiculed for 3 days on Twitter and everything else from not being able to. What did he throw it up 7 times or?
I don't know. Is the lowest ever.
Yeah,
lowest ever. But he's got 9-foot arms.
Yeah, that's the other thing I thought.
He's going a mile and a half. To bench press that.
But everybody made a big deal about that, and look what it didn't matter to anything. Not that it doesn't matter, but I mean, I just think that a lot of this combine stuff gets blown out. It's something for the NFL to promote, to get us to watching things and to talk, which it's working because that's what we talk about.
Absolutely, and we're interested in it.
Yeah.
Just like Zach said, I like seeing those 40 times. I want to see who runs what.
Right.
I want to know, like on this little sheet we got here, we got everybody from Oklahoma listed that is going to go. I think my dark horse is Carson Meyer.
Yeah.
Because he is a prototypical athlete for the pros, 6'5", 255, and he can run.
Yeah, but Carson, he didn't get invited. He's going to be in the draft, but he didn't get invited to combine.
Well, he will be picked up by an NFL team. I bet you money.
A 6'5" tight end. Yeah.
Well, he's strong and he's fast.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think he. What are your thoughts about the Sooners in the draft?
Also, I think we are going to have a big draft this year. I think we're probably going to end up with 3 in the first round with Cody Ford, Kyler Murray, and Marquise Brown, and then probably end up with I don't know if Seibert will get picked because kickers and punters just sometimes they get picked, sometimes they don't.
Right.
But I think everybody else is going to get picked up, or they're going to make their teams. Everybody who's entered the draft seems like they can go pro. All the offensive linemen, and that's one of the big things about Kyler. They think that he can't throw over offensive line that's NFL caliber, but he did all year.
Yeah,
so.
For sure he did.
Well, here's the interesting thing. I was looking at stuff today on the draft. Cody Ford is the number 1 guard in the draft.
Is that right?
Yes. And he's the number 5 tackle, offensive tackle.
Okay.
Remember we were watching the other day, and they had it scrolling across the screen, and Rob was like, I thought he was a guard because they had him listed as the number 5 tackle. Well, he is. He's the number 1 guard, but he's the number 5 tackle.
Well, the money's at the tackle spot.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But they're projecting him to go to the Jaguars. It's what most people, the number 7 pick. Bobby Evans is a second or early third round. Ben Powers, I love this when they put this stuff out. A first to third round pick. Duh. I mean, really? Thanks a lot for narrowing that down.
They probably mean that if he goes to the combine and he presses that 2 1/4 like 35 times or something, he's going to go first round.
Yeah. But where, number 1, well, first off, Rodney Anderson. Okay. Is Rodney Anderson going to get drafted, Zach?
I think he's going to get drafted for sure, but he's going to be a late pickup. I think he's going to be like Joe Mixon was a few years ago, even though Rodney's was an injury and not a issue with his off-field stuff. But I think he'll get picked up late in the draft, and then some team's going to be really happy with him because he's a hell of a running back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that because, I know he is, but I know how these, I've listened to how these teams are about going into the draft and stuff. As injury prone as he is, he was injured every year he was at Oklahoma. 1 year, it's still crazy, he breaks his neck. And that was his freshman year. And then his sophomore year, he broke his leg. And he had a shoulder injury in 2017. And then we still don't know what was wrong with his knee. But I don't even know if they ever said it was his knee.
I don't know if he's healed. I guess we'll see come,
But you're right. Is that he is a stud. But I'm just worried that these teams are just going to go, we're going to just let him come on as a free agent and go from there.
I think Zach's probably right. I think somebody picks him up in, one of the last rounds because, if he turns out to be what he could be, then you got a jewel. You got a diamond in the rough in the late rounds. Right. What you got. So I think Zach's right on the money there.
This is what I hope doesn't happen. They got Hollywood, Marquise Brown going to the Raiders with the 24th pick. Ugh. Cannot stand the Raiders. Well, will they still be the Raiders when they get to Las Vegas?
I think Las Vegas Raiders? I haven't heard they're going to change that. Not like the Oilers did. Not like I'm bitter about that at all.
But and then Kyler Murray. I don't think there has been. By this time. Well, no, it wasn't by this time. As it got closer, everybody pretty much knew that where everybody was going to go in the draft. It was still kind of up that it was that Baker was favored to be the number 1 pick, but I've never seen anybody be so kind of out there as nobody wants to say Kyler Murray's going to be the number 1 pick. He's going to be the number 10 pick, the number 13. I read a couple of spots today that they said he's the 13. He's going to go to 13 to Miami.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask both of you this. Did Baker Mayfield's success help Kyler Murray?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that Baker translates to the NFL, or Lincoln's quarterbacks and his offense translates to the NFL, so it shows that when Baker did it, that Kyler could do it just as easily. So I think that Baker's success absolutely helps Kyler. Yeah. And Kyler's a little bit more athletic as well. So
Kyler may be doing it better.
Well, what was it you said you were reading before we came on, Rob? What's his name? Just went blank. You read the tweet.
Yeah. The dude from ESPN. What was his name? I don't know.
I had to corner you, didn't I? He always thought he was always on Baker's side. I went blank too. Golly. Yeah, we're old, Zach, so that's part of that's part of our problem. he's been on a Cowherd show a couple of times. I can't think of his name now.
Well, it's going to take me a while to
Yeah,
find
because
him.
Rob's got his phone out now, so it may be day after tomorrow when he finds.
I'll give you a call. Let you know.
But anyway, he said that he is the most athletic quarterback in any draft ever. Even Michael Vick and those guys. Which I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever. And, people keep saying, I don't think that Kyler would be as good if he was 6'2". That's just my opinion. I mean, that lankiness, it would probably help him looking downfield. But Kyler is who he is because of his size and agility. And that agility comes part from being a little guy. You know what I mean? He's if he was 6'2", he wouldn't be able to glide like he does.
You might be absolutely right in that deal.
Joel Klatt.
Joel Klatt.
That's the guy who said that.
I still haven't found it.
Rob still hasn't. I'm not 100% convinced Rob's looking for it. There's no telling what he's looking at on his phone right now.
I definitely am.
But I still think there's that outside chance, and as we get closer, that Cliff Kingsbury takes Kyler as the number 1 pick. Because he already, he mouthed off during the football season or during the Big 12 media days. If he was in the NFL, he would certainly draft him. Well, here's your chance. Get rid of your quarterback, which I know is not as easy said as done, but it can be done. It would. They have the number 1 pick. Why wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, he's dynamic. He is absolutely a dynamic player, and he has proven, by winning the Heisman Trophy, by taking a team with the worst defense in the daggum nation and putting them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He didn't do it single-handedly, but it was close.
Yeah, he was the right hand of it. The rest of the team was the left hand, and Marquise with both legs. So, but
I think you guys are both right. I think Cliff. Honestly, if I had to put money on it, I'm taking Kyler. I would put money on Kyler going number 1. I think Cliff Kingsbury's putting those words out there about Josh Rosen, saying that he's our guy because he wants to get more out of Josh Rosen. He wants more draft picks, or he wants more of talent in a trade with him. So I think that he's putting that out there for that reason.
right.
And for if any reason that they don't take Kyler at 1 and they end up with Josh Rosen, he still needs to be like, well, I told you were our guy. So like a little bit of comfort to his quarterback. So
Right.
I think that Kyler goes 1, if I'm being completely honest.
And I think right now the reason why you're not here, nobody is tying anything down until it gets closer to the draft. The draft is what, next month or in April?
Yeah,
it's in April, isn't it? I think as we get closer, because it was the same thing with Baker. He can't play all this stuff. He's not be able to, won't equate to the NFL and da 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 da. But as it got closer and teams started doing stricter evaluations, film evaluations, talking with coaches, talking with other coaches, and watching, all of a sudden your stock starts rising, and I just don't see this kid's stock dropping anywhere.
Nope.
And I threw this analogy out the other day is Doug Flutie. Doug Flutie, when the NFL finally put him in the league, okay, when somebody finally took a chance on him after he had bounced around and was the greatest, I think he still is the greatest quarterback to ever play in the Canadian Football League. He finally got back into the NFL, and he was a really good quarterback. I think he played for the Bills. I can't remember all who he played for, but he was a good, solid quarterback. Had he been in the NFL when he was young and in his prime, he would have probably been a great NFL quarterback. And I think Kyler is, well, obviously he's a lot more athletic than Doug Flutie would ever think about being, but that's where the NFL has got to start going. We got to not take chances. We have to take the best athletes and develop them into that position, because there were so many years that we went with quarterbacks back in our day that ended up being wide receivers, or defensive, or defensive backs, or because the NFL, they weren't your NFL style quarterbacks. The NFL has got to catch up with the rest of football and say, we got the best athlete in football, and he happens to be a quarterback. Somebody take him quick, put him in your system, or build a system around him and win ball games. That's what they got to start doing.
Honestly, I think Kyler fits Cliff Kingsbury's system. That air raid system that he ran at Texas Tech, I think he's going to fit well, and I think it's going to work well in the NFL. I didn't like Cliff Kingsbury getting hired by Arizona, but getting fired from Texas Tech and then getting hired at a pro team. But I think his offense will translate well into the NFL, because you could see with the Rams this year that offense they had it translates well to the NFL. And once you finally start putting that into play, that teams are starting to win with it. Like the Chargers played it a little bit, and the Rams. So I think that with Clicks, if he's in the right system, I think Kyler Murray is going to flourish in the NFL.
Found it, by the way. Just so you know.
Yeah, he finally.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, read what Joel Klatt, after what we were talking about 10 minutes ago, Rob, but go ahead.
Joel Klatt says he'd take Kyler Murray with the number 1 pick. There has never been a better running quarterback coming to the NFL draft ever. I think he's better on both accounts, running and passing, than Michael Vick.
Boom. I agree with that.
I agree, too. Absolutely, I do.
And I'm pretty sure Kyler doesn't.
He's a better slider.
And better slider, and he probably doesn't have a semi-pro dogfighting league in his backyard.
Probably not.
Probably. So, didn't mean to upset any of the animal rights people out there, but I had to throw that out there. So, Zach, what we're going to do right now is my favorite thing is Sooner, Not a Sooner. Okay. Are you familiar with Sooner, Not a Sooner?
No, I'm not.
Okay. What I have is a list of the University of Oklahoma football players who were drafted in the NFL, and I have a list of people. Okay. I'm going to give you a name, and you tell me whether you either know it or don't, but you say it's either a Sooner or not a Sooner. So I give you a name, and you try to figure out if it's a Sooner or not a Sooner, and then we'll discuss that person. Sound like a plan? And some of these you would be surprised.
It goes way back.
Yeah, it goes way back. So, but I will start off. Let's see. Let me find a name here. Ricky Dixon. Sooner, not a Sooner?
I'm going to go not a Sooner.
Oh, Ricky Dixon was a Sooner.
Oh, a great Sooner.
1988, he was drafted in the first round. He was the 5th pick to the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's see here.
He's a youngster, though. So
he's a youngster. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Here's one.
I like to challenge you. You don't have to contend with me.
Stalker McDougal. Sooner, not a Sooner?
Stalker McDougal. I feel like that's such a weird name that it has to be a Sooner.
No, you
definitely.
are right.
One of the best linemen ever played here, I think.
2000, he was picked in the first round. It was the 20th pick to the Detroit Lions. That seems to be the team that a lot of OU guys go to.
Stalker was a hoss.
Yes, he was.
Man, he was big.
And one of the best names in Sooner history. Stalker McDougal.
Stalker McDougal.
Why couldn't my parents have named me Stalker?
Probably because Stalker Channing, right? And that's a chick, though, right? Stalker Channing. Yeah. Grease. Woo! Look at me pulling that one out.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about Grease.
You wouldn't?
No. So, let's see here. Brodney Poole. Sooner, not a Sooner.
I'm going to go with not a Sooner.
Oh.
Nope, he was a Sooner. 2005 second-round pick, the 34th overall pick to the Cleveland Browns.
Man, he was really good defensive back. I'm not even kidding you.
I didn't know you had those.
We don't anymore.
Well, you did notice we had to go back, 12 years,
Yeah.
14 years. Okay, here we go. Bud Kilmer, Sooner, not a Sooner.
You've thrown out a lot of Sooners. So I'm going to go not a Sooner on this one.
Rob,
Bud Kilmer.
do you know who Bud Kilmer was?
I do not. I don't have a clue.
He was the head coach of the West Canaan Coyotes, played by John Voight in Varsity Blues. Bud Kilmer. Did you see? Have you ever seen Varsity Blues?
I have. It's been a long time.
I don't think I ever seen that.
You never seen?
I don't think so.
We were just talking about it last week.
That don't mean I've seen it.
Oh my God, Rob. Let's see here. Go through this. Joe, I can't pronounce it. Bategalo. Joey Bategalo. Sooner, not a Sooner.
I'm going to go with a Sooner.
Nope.
Dang.
Rob, do you know who?
Nah, not a clue.
That was Bill Goldberg's character on The Longest Yard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, big old Goldberg, the wrestler.
Did they ever say his name?
He was Joey Batigalo.
Hey, I got something I want to bring up and just interject right here if I could.
Okay.
So I was at the baseball game today,
Mm-hmm.
and T-Row is calling the game,
Right.
and I'm listening to T-Row. And did you know that today
I was listening to it.
You listened to the same
I know
thing.
What you're gonna, yeah.
Bud or Benny Owens died on this day in 1970? And did you realize how many sports he coached?
No,
here at the
I did
University
not.
of Oklahoma?
Do you know who Benny Owens is?
I do not.
Okay, the field at we used to be Owen Field at Memorial Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
The field is still named Owen Field, and I guess he is as like you said, T-Row called him the father of Oklahoma Sooner sports.
Right.
He coached baseball, football, basketball. And in all three sports.
And intramural sports. Yep.
And he won over 100 games in every sport.
And he was at the university for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
He started coaching. I think he was the baseball coach in I think he said
1903 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Way back in the day.
Yeah, because he died in 70. He was 94 years old, I think he said.
Yep.
But Benny Owens, that's who the field is named after. It's still named Owen Field.
Right.
If you go in the stadium, some places you'll see Owen Field. But I didn't realize that he coached three different sports. I thought he was a coach. I just thought he was a football coach.
That blew my mind. I was like, T-Row is blowing it up right here. But, T-Row is probably my favorite broadcaster.
Yeah.
I don't know, him and James Hill,
Yeah. Do you ever get to listen to Toby Rowland up here?
Every once in a while, but not too often, no.
I tell you what, there's two things. Is I would love to have Toby Rowland's job. I couldn't do it nearly as well.
Oh, no.
And I would hate to have Toby Rowland's job because
Right.
that is the busiest man in Oklahoma.
Like he's on a plane a bunch.
Yes. There was, I want to say, we were talking about it. This guy did a football game, I think the Big 12 game on Saturday, and then did like a basketball game on Sunday. And, today he did the baseball game on the radio, and there was, how many people were there, Rob?
Maybe 35. Maybe.
And it was 32 degrees, and he's calling a baseball game.
My hands were hurting. I couldn't stay. It was 5-0. I said, "Hey, this is a win. I'm leaving."
Yeah. But Toby, we need to see if we can get to be Toby Rowland's. We've asked James if we could be his, little gophers.
Yeah.
We need to see if Toby would let us, but he was calling the game by himself too. He had no color. a guy or nothing.
I could help him out. I could go right on in there because I know in the booth that he's in, it's probably nice and warm in there.
Yeah. So Zach, who is, you said you're 23?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who is your favorite Sooner?
That's easy. That goes to Baker.
Baker? Okay, you're a Baker
Baker
man.
was just, yeah. I even named my dog after Baker.
Terry and I were out eating the other night, and there was a baby. They were going, "Come here, Baker."
Yeah, a little bit. He was maybe a year old.
Maybe, yeah.
Baker, come here, and Rob elbowed me. He goes, "You hear that kid's name?" There's a lot of kids in the state named Baker from the last 3 years, and there's a lot of kids now named Lincoln as well, and Riley,
and probably Kylers. There's probably a few Kylers going around. So
we went to the coaches show at Rudy's Barbecue, and there was a family that they brought their kids up to take a picture, brand new babies, little boy and a girl, brand spanking new in their little jerseys, and the boy's name was Lincoln and the girl's name was Riley.
Sure enough.
Even if I wanted, I don't think my wife would let me name my kid after a coach.
Listen, she's got no say.
I'm glad she doesn't listen to this podcast, Rob.
I got that all the way out before I started laughing.
But I don't think my wife would have ever let me name a kid after
a sport. Well, okay, so I'm going to be on your side here just a little bit because my wife would not let me name my firstborn son George Herman.
That's just wrong.
I know. I said, we can call him Babe if you want.
She would not let you name him George Herman.
Yeah, for all of you that do not get that, unfriend me now. George Herman Ruth, okay?
The great Bambino.
The Sultan of
SWAT. Oh, that guy. We're now referencing
The Sandlot.
Sandlot movie. Have you seen The Sandlot?
Yeah, I've seen The Sandlot. I grew up on The Sandlot.
Yeah. That's in my opinion the greatest baseball movie ever.
It's up there.
It's up there. I love that movie.
You play ball like a girl. I'm like, that's so me when I was a kid.
So, Zach, we got the spring game coming up. What are your expectations after the spring game in the season? What is going to be a acceptable season for Zach from Fort Gibson?
That's a hard one. I think probably a Big 12 championship is a must, but I don't know if we make it back to the college football playoff. I know we got Jalen Hurts, and I know that he's been at Alabama and he's won some big games there, but I just don't know if we will have enough. I know we have 3 5-star wide receivers coming in too, but I think we're going to go probably around 11-2, maybe win another Big 12 title, but I don't know if we can get back into that playoffs unless something crazy happens, or if Grinch turns around the defense a lot faster than everybody thinks he will, then we might be able to. But I'm thinking around a Big 12 title is probably where I want to be at least.
So it's great points. Okay. But looking at Oklahoma's schedule next year, who beats Oklahoma? Who do they lose 2 games to?
Ooh. I don't want to say this because I'm an Oklahoma fan, but I think Texas might have us, but they also lost their quarterback, so maybe not. But they have a they return a lot. So Texas makes me nervous, and then I don't know. I think we would slip up at an Iowa State or I don't know. Les Miles at Kansas. I don't ever want to lose to Kansas, but Les Miles is a great hire for Kansas. So
yeah,
maybe. And then Kansas State also got a great hire with South Dakota State head coach. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we could slip up on because going into the past couple seasons, we didn't think we would lose to any of the teams we lost to.
Right.
So.
Well, and that's my conundrum with this year is I want to say we're not going to be as good as we have the last 2 years, but then I look back and go, how can we not be? You know, I mean, I would be more apt to an 11-2 type season, 10-3, 10 you know, whatever, if Jalen Hurts was there, because the question at quarterback I think has been answered. But then again, it may not be, because I still say this: who's to say Spencer Rattler doesn't walk in here and just light it up? And it happened. You know, it happened at Clemson. Clemson's got a freshman quarterback.
Georgia kid can play football.
Georgia beat us 2 years ago with a freshman,
Jake from State Farm.
Jake from State Farm.
You got Tua beating out Jalen already for as a freshman. So
I'm gonna tell you, Spencer Rattler, he is the real deal.
Yeah. So, you know, we keep talking, you know, hey, Jalen Hurts and, you know, da-da-da. It may be that Jalen Hurts is the, you know, key that turns Spencer Rattler on, you know, or even Tanner Mordecai. You just don't know. I mean, and there is no doubt that he's a great quarterback. But, I mean, myself included, we're kind of going into this, well, you know, we got Jalen Hurts, we're going to be fine. Well, you know what? We may have Spencer Rattler and be just fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a possibility that kid comes in here.
Listen, if all things are equal, I think you start Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, if it comes down to a close deal, you know, a close race like Lincoln said it was last year, you play, you know, you put your young quarterback in there to start getting experience right off the bat, because we play the East Carolina School of the Deaf for our first game, don't we?
I don't know, but you absolutely, if it comes down and you can't tell between them, you take Spencer.
You take Spencer.
Sorry about your bad luck, Jalen. I know that you came here to play, but you know, we'll see. That's gonna be the interesting thing that comes up next year. But I just look at next season and go, I'm like you. Texas is going to be a tough game. Texas is going to be tough, no doubt about it.
But you know, I think Iowa State's going to be better this year. Campbell's got, you know, he's got a football head on his shoulders and knows what to do. But outside of that,
and we're at Iowa State, right?
No, Iowa State's here this time.
Oh.
Okay. But they beat us here, so
right. That doesn't mean
we don't have home field advantage against Iowa State.
Well, the only player that Texas lost was that chick Brooklyn Hager.
Yeah,
and so they're gonna be good. There's just no doubt about it. They're gonna be good.
Just call him Brooklyn.
Isn't that his name?
Brecken.
Oh, whoopsie.
Brooklyn Hager. He did kind of look like a Brooklyn.
What?
You know,
where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, but it's going to be an interesting spring game. You know, I'm not. You know, I'm looking forward to spring game because it's football, but we're not going to see anything. So, it'd be just like last year's spring game. So, you're going to make it up to the spring game?
I really want to. I'm not sure. I just started a new job, so I don't know if I'll be able to get off. But I planned on it, and then, you know, circumstances happen, start a new job, so it just depends on if they're going to let me off on that Saturday.
I'll just give you an old trick of mine, okay? Call in sick. So,
you heard it right here.
Just, you know, I'm sick, can't come to work today. You know, what's the chances of your boss going to be at the spring game too? You know, just don't post pictures to Facebook and Twitter and stuff. But I got you covered in that. You can just go, hey, call in sick. That's all you got to do.
This is a new section. Life advice from Terry. At Terry Long 5150.
So, but hey, Zach, we appreciate you coming on with us. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope all the fans out there listening and enjoyed it. But that's the podcast for today. And remember to watch on social media, because you are, you know, out on Twitter. I better say Twitter, because I'm not sure that Dan knows how to work Facebook. I know he knows how to work Twitter.
The Facebook.
But watch for this big event. It's going to be a monstrous tailgate. So watch Twitter tomorrow. Tailgate Connect is who run. Dan from Tailgate Connect. That's his company. He'll be teasing it on social media, and then tailgateconnect.com will start having all the information on how to attend the big Southern California Rose Bowl Pasadena UCLA game. I don't know what he's going to call it, but again, Zach, appreciate it, buddy, and we'll do it again. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Zach.
But when I play football, I make sure that I always wear protective gear, such as my helmets and them shoulder pads. Anyway, the most important piece of equipment is called the cup. Now, it ain't no Dixie cup, and it ain't no coffee mug. And you certainly won't want to be drinking nothing out of it.
Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. Sooner Football Fans Podcast is hosted by Rob Nixon, Terry Long, and occasionally Caleb Long. It is produced at the beautiful Podcast Palace in Norman, Oklahoma. Follow us on Twitter at SoonerFBFans and like our Facebook page at Facebook.com/Sooner Football Fans, and visit our website at www.SoonerFootballFans.com to read our blogs and keep up with our tailgating activities. Boomer Sooner, everyone.